Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good morning, Facebook Team Post. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Morning Motivation with Big Papa. You guys ever wonder how I always have so much to talk about? You ever thought about that? You ever said, how does Big Papa always have something to talk about? It seems like the guy must run his trap all day. Well, it's actually not true. So, in my 20s, I was big into philosophy, and mostly mindfulness philosophies. So I studied a lot of Zen Buddhism. I studied a lot of Jesus. I studied just anything I could get my hands on, really, that had to do with self-awareness and growth. And one particular philosopher that I started to study, his name was J. Krishnamurti. Jadu. I think he just went by J Krishnamurti, and people just refer to him as Krishnamurti. And one of the things, a real serious dude, and I guess at some point in time he was considered a real guru. In one of the books I was reading about him, some of his discourses, he referred to something called mindless chatter. And it's the everyday conversations, like the everyday talk that we engage in. And not just the everyday talk we engage in, but the everyday thoughts we engage in. And I was just thinking about mindless chatter this morning, because ever since then, I've always been very mindful of not just my thoughts, but the words that I use. And so when I'm not talking to you guys, I'm actually pretty quiet. You wouldn't know it. It's kind of like getting up. I can get up and give a six hour lecture and talk nonstop, but then I just prefer not to talk at all. And I'm really not good at small talk. So if we're hanging out, having a beer, you're going to probably be the one doing all the talking, because I prefer to just listen. And I chime in, from time to time. My business partner is a retired special services, and he said, man, my wife cannot believe how much I talk to you. He says, I never talk to anyone. He said, but you're so easy to talk to. You're so laid back and calm. And I just, I really like to be mindful of my thoughts. And so the reason I'm putting this out there to you guys is I am just curious, day in and day out, are you aware of your thoughts? Are you aware of your words? Are you aware of the things you say, the interactions and conversations you have with other people? Because thoughts become things. And where you're placing your dominant thoughts become the dominant reality. And so when you're interacting and when you're engaging, because my dominant thoughts are usually focused around work and family and relationships. Most conversations I have are even focused around that. Now in the morning times, my dominant thoughts are focused around talking to you guys, going to the gym, pushing forward with my gym goals, my health goals. But what are your dominant thoughts? And what are the dominant conversations that you have with the people around you? And how do those thoughts how are those thoughts defining your reality, your present existence and state of being? And you've heard people say before, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Think about that. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around, the 5 people you talk to the most, the 5 people you interact with the most. So if you look around you, kind of who are those people that you're the average of? Because sometimes we have to take a serious accounting and we have to level up. We have to level up in our relationships and talk to people who are perhaps on some completely different level than the other people that we might have a tendency to spend our time around, especially if we start thinking about where we want to go with our goals. And I gotta tell you, I'm enjoying writing my goals. You know, it's something I've been doing pretty consistently for the last 20 years. But there are times when I don't, when I just, you know, I get overwhelmed by life and I just stop writing them for long periods of time. But I'm really enjoying writing them right now. And it just, even this morning when the alarm clock, I was actually up at 3 and the alarm clock didn't go off until 3:30. I like that. I like to be up ahead of my alarm clock. But when it went off, I was still laying in bed. And one of the first thoughts that came to my head was, oh man, I need to get up and write my goals. And I really enjoy writing my goals and being in the process. You know, so what is that mindless chatter you're engaging in? What's the mindless chatter you're engaging in within yourself? And what's the mindless chatter you're engaging in with others? And how is that mindless chatter defining or not defining your existence? And maybe you're not engaging in any mindless chatter at all. That's fine too. I don't think that mindless chatter is a bad thing, and I don't think Krishnamurti touted it as a bad thing. So one of his books was Think on These Things, and one of the audience members asked him a question. Hey, good morning, Channing. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Franz. One of his audience members asked him a question, and his response was, do you really want to know the answer? Or are you just looking for some confirmation of your existing reality? Are you just looking for someone to, are you looking for me to just validate you? And I thought that was really cool, because I've had that experience happen a lot, where someone will ask me a question, a parenting question, and they really don't want to know the answer. You can look at them and tell. They just glaze over. As soon as they ask you, as soon as you start giving them a response, they glaze over. And then it's almost like they're defending what their thought was before they even ask you the question. See, that's mindless chatter. That's someone who's not really engaged in actual thinking. They're engaged in defending. And when you're engaged in defending, you're not actually listening, you're not actually thinking. You're in a defensive posture, which is a shutdown place, which is an unconscious place. And then I had a parent also ask me if no, I'm not going to talk about that. So, mindless chatter. That's your thought for the day. What's the mindless chatter in your own mind? And if it is just mindless chatter, if your chatter is consistently going back to paying the bills, what's for dinner, when you're going to do laundry, I wonder what my boyfriend is doing or my husband's doing, oh, I love my kids, oh, you know, that's a nice car, I'm so glad it's spring and the weather's nice, and let me go talk to someone else about the temperatures. Stop for just a moment. Just pause for just a moment and just ask yourself, how is this defining my reality? Because the reality is, it is. And that's it. So Big Papa's gonna go get in this workout. Get this chest workout in today. Good work on these guns. Feel good. Been feeling real good about my gym time. So I love you guys. I've switched over to Wi-Fi when I pull up. Thanks for joining me for Morning Motivation. If I don't see you this evening for Post Daily Dose, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace!